Happy February. Dr. Mary, it's February.
It is.
We are through the month of 967 days.
Yeah.
It's a 3-year month. Now we're on to a short month, which can also be terrible, but at least it's short. So there's that. Hey, it's a big day today.
It is.
What are we celebrating?
It is 5 years to the day that I became sober, and it's my 5-year sobriety call.
5 years.
I was at my wonderful AA meeting on Friday, and they were doing, at the end of each month, they do the month sobriety birthdays, and I asked if I could go slightly early because I wanted to show this off on Tuesday, and thankfully they all said yes.
Wait, you do it at the end of the month?
Because it's a different meeting. They used to do it every Friday when it was at Prairie St. John, but Prairie St. John aren't doing AA meetings because of the pandemic. So they just do it at the end of the month just to speed things up.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That'd have been a long wait for you.
So one of my counselors who also goes to this AA meeting said, well, where's your sponsor? And I said, well, actually, he's in Arizona golfing and having a great time. It's fair enough, you can do it.
Yes, lucky him. We are not in Arizona. No, I'd be happy to be on a golf course if it meant it was warm. I wouldn't be golfing, but I'd be happy to be tootling around.
Yeah, I'd carry something around.
Yes, me too.
Just so it's not 15 degrees outside of a -10 wind chill factor.
All of those things. Well, Dr. Mary, congratulations on 5 years. Does it feel like 5 years to you?
It doesn't, actually.
What does it feel like?
In some ways, it feels like a year, and sometimes it feels like a couple of months. It doesn't feel like 5 years, that's for sure.
5 years is a long time.
It's been a fantastic 5 years, Laura.
Yeah, like your 5-year-old sober self would be getting ready for kindergarten, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That seems crazy. Well, it's amazing. The other thing to celebrate, of course, is that 2 years ago today, we launched our whole public journey about this. And later that week, we were on the cover above and below the fold. Sorry, I'm holding my tea.
Above the fold. There you go. We made it.
Of the forum, which, if you know me, you've heard me say this, but it took my little website from like 800 views a month to 25,000 views. We had no idea when we launched that 9-part series that it would matter, that anybody would pay attention to it, that anything would come along of it. All right, let's just get to this, because now we've got a number of people thinking, who the heck is Wall? We've discussed this a lot. Walter, my grandma called Maz Walter. My mother has adopted it. So when you see Wall, Wally, Walt, all those things, it's because my grandma could not remember Maz. So she called him Walter. So
unfortunately for all concerned, and I may have said this story, so I'm going to keep it very brief. When we were all in England a few years ago, your mother, my fantastic mother-in-law, turned to my mother and said, doesn't Walter look fantastic? Which confused the bejesus out of my sister, who said very confusedly, who's Walter? So, explain it all to my sister.
Yes,
if you said it's bad enough you have a nickname, now you just have people just randomly calling you stuff. So,
Yes. Anyway, so we launched this journey. It blew up in ways we never could have anticipated. No. And I feel like, are you glad we did this? I mean, we're still doing it, so I'm assuming you are.
It was kind of horrifying, and I wanted, if the pandemic hadn't started right about then.
Well, yes, right.
I think I probably would have still done it. Whether or not I'd agreed to do this show.
Oh, yes.
Because this was beneficial to me because of so many AA meetings being closed. You and I talking about it was just a gift for me, and it was a gift, I think, for the people who have told us that it's been helpful, and all the guests we've had. Oh my gosh.
I just sometimes go back and marvel at who we've had a chance to talk to in these past 2 years. I also go back to some of those early interviews and cringe just a little because we didn't have any idea what
No.
we were doing. Often the technology was really bad. I'm screaming. The lighting is terrible.
If you watch these shows, and especially the guests, they've always been guest Thursdays. And think about that. A lot of these people we didn't actually know. Dana, who did most of the work on it, or almost all of the work on this, just reached out to people. So if you are suffering, just do what Dana did. Reach out to someone.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. I can't see that.
Anne says, that's why I always call people Love, to avoid getting the wrong name.
See?
I'm Dana Ann.
My name's not Walter.
Yeah, but you can call him that. He'll respond. That's very funny.
Pavlov's dog.
Oh, gosh. Last year, I went back to watch last year's video on this day. You remember, of course, that I gave you a surprise for your Chip Patty send, and I put that together, which was really, really moving. I was surprised.
I was not expecting it.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. But I gave you the world's tiniest piece of cheesecake. And yesterday I thought about going to the store to get you the stuff, to make you cheesecake. And then I remembered that we're both trying to lose a little puppy winter weight.
Yes.
And it's hard to eat and talk on the screen. And it was too cold to walk in. You had my car.
Yes.
So those are just the realities of it. But the sentiment remains.
I appreciate the sentiment. I really do. And the lack of unnecessary calories too.
Yes. Yes.
We've got to that age where we think, oh, I don't need the calories.
It's true. It's true. It's true. So I am going to put this up. If you go to my website, danadelval.com, I wrote a piece this morning sort of reflecting on these 5 years because, Dr. Mary gets to celebrate and pick up a chip and have the hearty congratulations. And that's outstanding. This isn't well, why don't I get to have that? Although it is going to sound a little bit like that.
No, it doesn't. It's a very, very well-written blog and you should read it.
Yeah, Mother says life is short. Get Love the cheesecake. I'm interrupting myself by putting up posts, but the point is, this has been a 5-year anniversary for me, as well. I am a really different person than I was this day in 2017, and I have been gifted the opportunity to become a different person because of this, and I really have so much gratitude for that and so much appreciation that you stuck with me. You often talk about being grateful that I stuck with you. I view it as absolutely a reciprocal amount of gratitude. You could have woken up and said, what the hell? I think I ended up here because of you. You don't say that. You don't even really let me say that, but I think there's a lot of truth to that. And you can read a little bit about that. If you go to danadelval.com/blog, just scroll down a little because my retreat is the top post, but you will see that there. What do you want? Anything else, Dr. Mary, you want to talk about today?
No, I just had a nice meeting on Friday when I got this coin. It's a nice place to be able to go somewhere to talk about this sort of thing without judgment. And I think that is part of the stigma or the shame around addiction, because people judge. It's a chronic disease. People don't judge other chronic. I mean, some people.
That's actually not true.
People do laugh at things like, "Oh, you've got an allergy to nuts."
Yeah. But we also are highly judgmental of people who develop diabetes from being overweight. We're judgmental of people who smoke and get lung cancer. We are fairly judgy. I don't know that we are as judgy, but we do have other diseases. You know who we don't judge? We don't judge attractive, wealthy people who develop diseases that feel like, oh, that's unfair. We're very comfortable judging other kinds of people.
Yes, we are.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I'm sorry.
that's true.
But, one of the things that I'm really working through now, and that's a little bit more dramatic than I mean it to be, but
dun, 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 dun.
is this idea of AA. And I have limited exposure to Al-Anon, which is the spouse's version or the family version, but it's modeled on the same thing. So it uses the 12 steps, the 12 promises, and there's a huge amount of judgment, I'll say, I think, placed on the addict.
That did not resonate with you that well at all.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. I think that's a problem. Like, for instance, and we've talked about this, but if Maz, let's say on January 28th, Maz had a beer, either accidentally, intentionally, whatever, he would not have this 5-year chip, because he would have gone to the group and said, gosh, guys, I had a beer. And if he was lucky, he'd get his 24-hour chip and start all over. That feels stupid to me.
I'm not gonna.
You and I can have very differing opinions on this, but what else in your life do you have to go all the way back to the beginning for, except Candyland or Chutes and Ladders? Everything else has grace periods and grace moments built into it, so that you don't do this. Well, I've had one beer, I may as well just keep going. I've already lost my chance to get my 5-year chip. I may as well just blow it up tonight. That would be the approach I would take. Now, that doesn't matter because that's just me, but that feels really bad to me. And I didn't know that it felt bad until we were introduced to other forms of sobriety or moderation. Moderation. So Michelle Perron last week talked about moderation.
Yeah.
We've started learning a lot about that. Alex Kaplan from Of Substance talked about moderation, even though he practices sobriety. I don't know. It really has upended the way I think about this. And then I just want to add this, and then you can say some more stuff if you want. We had a conversation with, 6 or 7 people last week around some training that we're going to start doing to work with other couples, I think primarily around addiction. And this model does not use the shame language or the methods of AA. You do not have to quit drinking to be part of this community. And there's been a lot of conversation, particularly in my family, always kindly started and intended, and purely speculative of, well, could you drink again? I bet you could. I bet you're not really an alcoholic. You just fell into the habit of alcoholism, which I sort of thought, yeah, I bet that's true. And your answer is always this: I don't know, but I'm unwilling to find out. That's it. That's always your answer.
Yeah, it is.
And then the conversation stops. But we've probably had that conversation, I don't know, let's say 10 times in 5 years, 10 times in 2 years. Okay. So on this call was a guy from Bristol, England, who had been sober. Do you remember how long? 9 years?
9 years. Yeah, he's living in Portugal, Lisbon, Portugal.
Oh, yeah, he lives in Portugal, where it's also probably warm. Anyway, 9 years. Decided, I think I can try it. I'm sorry, that was such a non-inspiring whistle, but fell right off the wagon, right back into it, and is now months, I think, into sobriety, if I'm remembering his story correctly. Well, let me tell you, that chilled my blood. Not because Maz has ever given me any indication that he's interested in trying, but because in my stupidity, I have thought all this time, oh, I bet you could. I bet you'd be fine.
There's a lot of biology involved in this, and I could do it justice in a talk if you wanted to do it. But one of the problems of alcohol is as soon as you reintroduce that that substance to your brain, your central nervous system and your pleasure center, or it goes in that overdrive.
Yeah.
And instantly crave that. And that's why a lot of people that fall off the wagon and drink just don't stop drinking.
Which goes back to my point of, if you know you're not going to get your 5-year chip because you had 1 beer, why not have 12? John says, I think that is the best answer ever. Why visit a realm you understand can be so destructive? Boy, you got that right, John. Yeah. It was just an interesting thing to learn. So, Dr. Mary.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I am prouder of you every single day that we do this work and that you stay sober. And I'm so, so grateful.
Me too, Tibbs. And thank you for everything.
You're welcome. Have a great day. We'll see you on Thursday live with a great guest. Thanks for celebrating with us. Talk to you soon. Bye.